back to another episode of the Sprites of Life podcast. I'm Lucas.
I'm Chris.
And I'm Don.
So glad to have you guys back. Happy New Year, guys. How
Many
was your New Year's?
happy arbitrary day in the year.
That's no way to look at the new year. Case, it is the year of the snake. Anyone you know born year of the snake?
What year in the 90s is the year of the snake? 94?
No, it would have been 80 something. It would have been 89, 2001. Yeah, there's a few different ones hopped over there. But yeah, year of the snake
89.
now.
I don't even know what my year is. I should look that up.
You're the rooster, Don.
Oh, let's go. Alice in Chains, best song.
I'm
Well-
a horse.
And I like Blaziken.
Well-
So, I'll take this. I'll take this win.
Anyway, because it's the year of the snake, I feel we should talk about snakes. I feel that's an easy one to do. Plus, I have a thought on Ekans. I feel like this is the right time to give it. But
Ooh, did
before we
you
do
know that Ekans is snake spelled backwards?
We're hard-hitting revelation.
This is why people tune in. They want this very new and topical revelation knowledge.
And did
this
you know
is
that
exactly
coughing
why.
is actually like coughing but spelled with a K?
Well, Arbok is Cobra with a K.
Yeah, it's Cobra with style.
All right, I will give you both as much time as you want to talk about snakes, but let me at least get some science news done. It's the beginning of the year, so there's not too much. I have some fun news for gaming news though, but we'll get science first. So this one's more of a bummer, but that's just how I was actually at a conference recently and they talked about how 98% of all news about the climate is depressing, and this is no exception. So apparently, up in Scotland, there was a study they were looking at bumblebees. They found out that bumblebees, because the winters are getting milder, that they are now trying to nest build during a time where there aren't that many flowers around. So that's causing a few different issues.
Is it are more of them dying because they can't make their like shelters?
Well, they're trying to make their shelters, but the food sources aren't available. The milder winters are making it so the bees don't hibernate as much. The flowers that they still need still aren't growing at that time.
Yeah.
And that's where the problem lies in. Apparently, at least 2 of UK's 25 species of bumblebee were believed to have started nest building early, according to the BBC's article that was published a few hours ago after the posting of this. So, yeah, just add that to another list of things that climate change has caused the ruckus to. And weirdly enough, with bees out there, like especially the honey-producing ones are from Europe. So it's not even like an invasive species thing. It's just like no, that's an issue. Oh, sorry. There was one other part. Also, there are some more people getting bit by ticks, and Lyme disease might be spreading further in the UK because they are able to survive. Hooray.
That's no
On
fun.
to, yeah, sorry. Again, it's January, so there's not as much. All the scientists were busy partying with everyone else, so there's nothing as fun or exciting. But I do have fun and exciting news from the cinema world and video games. All right. There is a game series we talked about on this program that is getting a movie. Would you all like to guess what franchise is getting a movie soon?
I know it, and I'm very afraid after every other game series that I've liked that has gotten a movie that wasn't Pokemon or Sonic.
Okay. Chris, you want to take a guess?
Dark Souls?
Mm-mm.
Mm.
Helldivers 2. They're going to be making it.
If it's
Okay.
bad,
Now-
all the editors should be sent to a freedom camp.
It's just gonna be Starship Troopers.
I mean, that would be the smart move, but this is Sony Entertainment we're talking about. The same people who continuously tried making Spider-Man films without Spider-Man. So,
I
mean,
really want it to be like unironically, like not going satirizing. I mean, yes, the game's satirizing, but I wanted to just kind of go the Starship Troopers route where it's never just like I don't know. I'm just concerned it's going to go very heavy-handed and be like Super Earth is bad. I want it to be unapologetically pro Super Earth.
That is, I think, the trick that they have to come up to. We do not want we do not want an outright criticism of the clearly awful tactics of Super Earth. We want to live in the reality that Super Earth is
Whoa
the good
there.
guy.
What do you mean awful? Let's tell my democracy officer about you.
Hey, by awful, I meant it's awful that no one understands the truth of Super Earth instead of this propaganda. Leave the freedom officer to other things. He's busy. Don't hurt me.
So
I will
why do the
also.
bugs hate our freedom? Are they stupid?
I find the fact that they do not care for freedom offensive. Oh, sorry. One other thing. Horizon Zero Dawn is also getting a movie, but this is after like there was some issues where the TV series got canceled because the director or like the company was toxic. So yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn is PlayStation's threat. They really want that franchise to take off, and I'm like, it's fun killing. It, it's fun, but you know.
I'm not even being a hater. I think I've played the first one a little bit. I feel like I haven't met that many people that have played Horizon Zero Dawn for as much like almost traction that it gets. I enjoyed
I've
it.
played the first. Yeah, it's good. It also serves as the unluckiest gaming franchise in the world because when it first came out, it was up against Breath of the Wild. Then when it came out again, like the sequel came out around the time I think it wasn't around Elden Rings, but it was close to something like that.
It was
Or-
within a month of Elden Ring.
Yeah, no, it was like one of those like you really cannot catch a break. Like it's not. It's I feel bad for it. I enjoy the franchise. I like killing robot dinosaurs, but I am more excited about a Helldivers 2 movie than a Horizon Zero Dawn movie because we're coming to this point where the same people who are like super into Warhammer 40K making series with Amazon, now we're also getting Helldivers 2. I'm hoping for good things, but I am very much like you, Don.
After what they did to Borderlands,
Yeah,
I
that was disgusting.
Did you actually watch Borderlands yet, Don?
Sorry?
Have you actually watched Borderlands?
Yeah, I try to forget that I did. I I said that said, I know we have some not really big news. Some teaser stuff for Borderlands 4 has been released, so I'm cautiously looking forward to that. I don't love some of the new Vault Hunter designs, but like we'll see. Have to see how their skills and stuff all line up. I might like them more.
I
And we have
admit I am a sucker for big guy who hits things. That is one of the reasons I miss playing Brick from Borderlands 1. Was like I don't need a bird to fight, just give me my knuckles. I loved that build.
I do like Brick. And then we have also sort of more recent game news as Dark Souls and Elden Ring were mentioned, but you guys saw Elden Ring Night Rain,
Yes.
Oh yeah.
which I
Excited.
just like that it's 1 or 3 person co-op, and I guess someone asked from Soft about duo co-op, and they said no, we're not doing that. Which
Really? Wow. Wow.
I just really like that. It's just a very FromSoft thing to do. I feel like to go, no, we know what's best for you, and it's not what you
Mhm.
think.
And they're one of those weird people who are all just be like, "Oh, I agree with you. You know better than me." Yes, sir.
You're
Absolutely.
absolutely
Whatever
right.
you say. Mhm. All right. So I think I know at least one of your opinions on this when I ask this question. What do you think about snakes?
I
Big
think you
fan.
probably know my opinion, which is they have a place in the world, and hopefully it's far away from me.
They give good
Okay.
hugs.
They do give strong hugs. Um, why do you feel that way, Chris? Like, what is it about snakes?
Evolution. I have never actually encountered a snake in the wild. I just know I don't want to
Ever?
be near one. No,
Come here, come visit. We'll find
nope.
snakes.
That's not a
Yeah,
way to get
we
me to
don't even need
visit.
to find them. We'll just hang out in the backyard. Be there.
I have not seen a snake in the wild, and I plan to
Okay.
keep it that way. I will the closest I have ever gotten to interacting with a snake in the wild. My family was in, I think it was Arizona. We pulled off on one of those like highway get offs where it's like you have a view. We get out of the
Yeah.
car and then we hear like the rattle of a rattlesnake, and we were like, "Thank you," and we got back in the car and left.
I mean, that is fair. That's what you're supposed to do when you hear a rattlesnake rattle. Now, as far as
Yeah, it's
like
totally what I do too. I totally leave the area and start flipping over sticks.
In any case, you're not the only one who has feelings about snakes that aren't positive. They are the second most feared animal on the planet next to spiders. And there are reasons why people are scared of them. Usually, you can break them down into three. Normally, it's either evolution. Like you said, there's some thing about snakes that messed with our DNA back in the day where our primate ancestors saw a snake and it terrified them, and those ones survived. And if you're living in sub-Saharan Africa, pretty solid instincts to have. You have childhood trauma. So if someone, dropped a snake down your shirt, or you were bit by a snake as a kid, probably going to have some negative effects. But the number one is usually culture. What we teach about animals has an effect on us as we grow up, especially when we're little. If we tell our children that snakes are dangerous and scary and will kill them, that might stick with them the rest of their lives. And it might not make them go out and become snake hunters, but it's certainly enough to make them leave them alone. I kind of want to use this time to talk about snakes as snakes, I feel like a lot gets lost in being scared, and I don't expect to change your mind, Chris. I just expect you to maybe, if you came down to where I work and I was holding a snake, you would at least stare at it without walking away. That's
So I will like I don't like run away from like if I see like in like I can look at them and I can be near them in like the controlled settings, but I just like they're just not for me.
Hmm, I understand.
I do think
Well,
that like behind like giant layers of glass, they are pretty cool to look at.
no, you'd love it. The place I work, we have an indigo snake. Oh, they're beautiful creatures. In any case, the first snakes ever showed up around the Jurassic period. So this was 150 million years ago. They are an offshoot of the lizards that adapted away their legs, and some of the first fossils we find are actually found in swamps. But if you look at where snakes are dispersed, they didn't exactly stay there. Once they got out of the swamps, they adapted to almost every climate you can think of. I mean, despite the thing being basically a noodle with teeth, it has lasted not only
Needle with
100.
teeth is a very effective body type, to be honest, for an animal.
I mean, that's where the worms kind of succeeded even before bones. Noodle with teeth
Worm,
is,
eel,
yeah. No, it's a good plan. Solid. Snakes rediscovered it, and they adapted to almost every continent, ecosystem, habitat you can think of. If you were to walk outside in any of our backyards, you have a chance of running into a snake. If you went to the tallest tree in the rainforest, you have a chance of finding a snake. If you go down to a coral reef, there's a good chance you might find a snake. If you go to the deserts, if you go to even some parts in colder climates, you can find snakes. They're really good at what they do. And the noodle with teeth body plan is still, stacking up wins. I do want you to guess, and I did blank it out on our notes. How many species of snake are there on the planet today?
at least
150.
100. Wow. Wow. All right. Are those your guesses?
Sure.
Fine. Cool. Over
I
3,000. Oh, no, he did. It's too late.
I know I was too late.
Yeah, you're too late. You missed it. 3,900. It's a lot. All of them are carnivorous, but only about 12 to 13% of them are venomous. They aren't really known for going after and chasing things down, and they do range in size quite a bit. Chris, I don't think you've ever seen a picture of this snake before, but I wanted you to see it in the Discord chat. This is one of the smallest species of snakes. It's called a thread snake.
They're
There you
adorable.
go. They're so
Mm,
cute.
it
So
looks
yeah,
like a
what
worm.
would that
It looks
Just
like a
look at
worm.
them. It does. A lot of times they are confused for worms, but they have bones. They have everything a snake would have. They have the teeth. They have all that stuff. I think I have another picture of it. Yes, this will help soothe your soul. Just know that it is the smallest one is the Barbados thread blind snake. It's related. They get to being about 4 inches long, and they are able to sit on a quarter.
So
They
some
are
blind
Hey,
just
snakes are actually I can't remember the specific one, but there's some blind snakes out that are non-native in Florida and some other states, and they've actually got here by writing it on the soil in plant pots at like major like Home Depot garden section type of locations.
Oh,
They'll
like the
show up in the
fire
soil.
ant.
Yes, but
Oh.
they're fun little guys, and they eat termite and ant eggs is one of their main diet sources.
A buddy of mine actually read a paper on it where there are species of owls that will actually collect these animals as food to their babies. The babies eat some of them, but not all of them, and the ones that escape will stick around the nest and feed off the larvae of insects, making it so that these baby owls that were going to eat them are now a whole lot healthier. So the owls get healthy babies, and the snakes get nothing.
Kind of like how tarantulas keep frogs as pets, only the frog gets safety.
Yeah, no, the snakes can still get eaten. Now, on the
Yeah.
other end of that spectrum, we have Titanoboa. Titanoboa was the largest snake to ever live, and it was a very, very big monster. That is the only snake I am afraid of, and it's gone, so we're good.
That looks like the one that hunted Ice Cube and Jennifer Lopez.
Yes, in the
Yeah, no,
documentary Anaconda.
of course, a fine film, truly representative of the Amazonian culture. Well done, Ice Cube. Thank you.
I don't know what
I mean,
encapsulates that culture better than John Voight.
well, Titanoboa was over 40 feet long. It was a massive creature. And judging by just the art of this, if it was based on an anaconda, it only really was able to move through swamps. The thing that kind of ties both the thread snake, the anacondas, and everything else in between is that they are all reptiles. They have no limbs. They don't have a fully connected jaw. And this is something that Pokemon messes up. They aren't supposed to be able to blink. Any snake that blinks is technically not a snake. They'd be closer to a legless lizard. And after scrolling through different versions of like the anime and how they're animated, almost all the snake Pokemon have blinked at least once.
I know
They're not true snakes.
Superior
Hmm?
definitely blinks.
Well,
Oh yeah,
Superior
he
has his
blinks.
little arms. If anything, Superior is more like a legless lizard or like one of the lizards that has vestigial limbs.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
he's not in this episode, because I was like, I don't know, your lizard quizentials are just too far. I don't know, Superior. You can call
I
yourself a
don't know. I
serpent
think you
all you
might think
want.
he's. I don't know. I think he's borderline snake status. He might be being a little contrary there.
Mm. In any case,
You
they
get what I
also
did?
all have
You get the joke? You
yeah,
get it?
yes, I did. Thank you, Don. Thank
Okay,
you.
good.
The mute button is too far away for me to press. Anyway, they also all have the forked tongue, the amazing sense of smell, specialized scales on their belly. Most people don't talk about this, but the scales on their belly are highly modified that allows them to kind of pull, climb, and in one case even glide through the air. They're highly adapted to any environment they go in, even with such a simple body plan. They also have the ability to move and adjust their bones to help them both consume and digest. Now, as far as culture goes with snakes,
Wait, can I
most of
address
the
the snake biology things real quick?
oh, please go right ahead.
Yes. So, you mentioned the forked tongue. Yeah. So snakes have a very interesting method of smell. They use their forked tongue. They flick it out, and their tongue sort of collects molecules of scent from the air, and they have a sort of cavity on the roof of their mouth called the Jacobson's organ, and the tongue sort of carries these scent molecules there, and then they're analyzed by the snake. The tongue itself isn't really tasting the air, which it does a little bit, but so much as carrying the smell to the sort of analysis portion. And then
I
the
think oh, go ahead. Sorry.
sorry, you mentioned the flying snakes, and have you guys heard of Herodotus, the Greek
Mhm.
guy from way back in the day?
Yeah.
Yes. So
Mhm.
Herodotus, in his book, which that was Herodotus' Histories, a Greek explorer, traveler guy that went to a lot of places and had a lot of accounts, some of which were pretty fanciful. But he mentions flying snakes when he traveled to, I think he just called it like the east. I can't remember the exact area that he called it. And it turns out that, again, one of the things he was shockingly right about, he was in the area where there are the gliding snake species. So
So
he was dead on about a flying snake, centuries before it was sort of re-described by, I guess, Western science, since
I
people over
like
there
the
knew
idea,
about them already.
I like the idea that he gets there and he's like, "Holy crap!" and then nobody believed him for the rest of his life.
That
mhm.
was kind of a
I mean,
lot of his stuff.
to be fair, like if someone said flying snake, you would just assume that they're trying to scare you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I could see where that could work in. I mean, on the note of culture though, like if we go through human culture, it's very interesting how so many different cultures view snakes as monsters, even though they've never come into real contact with each other. I mean, you have the obvious, the snake in the garden for Christianity, but you also have things from ancient Egypt. You have, I'm going to mispronounce this, Nehebeku, which was a snake deity that helped determine the value of souls in the underworld. At one point, it was viewed as a villain, but later on, it was viewed as a part of the natural cycle. I'm going to see if I can find a picture of this thing really quickly because I want you all to laugh. Give me 1 second.
Well, I think Apophis maybe is how you say it. Also in Egyptian mythology, was a big snake that would eat the sun potentially, which was a problem.
Yeah, that could be okay. So here is one description of the snake that weighs your soul. Here you go, and just enjoy them.
These just
Just
they were like, you know what? Snakes are missing legs. Fixed
snakes
it.
like snake with legs. They got the eyes right. Very good.
Mhm.
Snakes with legs. Beware. Meanwhile, the indigenous Pima tribe that it was found in Arizona had a story where elder brother brings fangs to the rattlesnake. He learns to bite, and he brings death into the world for the first time. Then you
Yeah, not
have Chinese
not a
myth.
fan of snakes.
Yeah, no. The Pima tribe definitely did not, at least in that story, care for the snakes. Um, in Chinese mythology, there's a bunch of different monsters there. The Shanglu, it's known in the classic mountains and the sea. It's a venomous nine-headed snake monster that brings flood and destructions in Chinese myth. So not the great running start when at least two of the major Western starting like the biggest like mythologies of the East and the West have both deemed some pretty negative traits. But there are some that are positive. There are the
Oh, you
you've
also
all seen the
you probably also Jormungandr, the world serpent in Norse mythology. It's a giant
Yeah.
snake that encircles the world and
yeah.
kind of starts messing stuff up real bad at Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so see,
And
not a
kills
positive
Thor.
thing there either.
Kills Thor and is killed by Thor.
Not fun. But I mean, you've all seen the symbol of like the snake eating itself, right? The snake eating its own tail.
Ouroboros.
Yeah, the Ouroboros is a sign of not just death but also rebirth. So there have been views of snakes as just other symbols. There have been people who've seen them as signs of protection, of health and fertility. But if we're being honest, most time when people see a snake, they assume the negatives. I mean, if you look at Pokemon, I mean, doesn't Pokemon is really much on the scary snake side because almost every snake Pokemon you look at looks scary or vicious or is a poison type. Also, I checked every single snake learns scary face. Every single one.
And they probably also all learn glare too, right?
Not all of them. No, not all of them do. But enough of them do. That glare is enough to like scare you and freeze you. I know that Superior is famous for it. I know Arbok. I believe Arbok can learn it as well.
Arbok
But I
and
don't.
Glare, yeah.
Um, Silcobra and Sandaconda. I don't believe they learn glare.
I thought maybe they used. Let me see.
Yeah, go take a look. Go take a look.
Sandaconda definitely gets it.
I feel like I've
Really?
played against Sandacondas that were using Glare back
Yeah.
when it was
I count Onix and Steelix as snakes as well, though. But I guess they're more. I don't know. I always count them as snakes.
Or do you
But as you
count
can see,
Dunsparce as a snake?
I do count Dunsparce as a snake. We will get to him. He knows
Okay.
glare. Yeah, add it to the pile.
Are we using Glare as the snake baseline, like how we use high horsepower for horses?
I think so.
Oh God, how many snakes are in Pokemon according to the glare metric?
Sandaconda does get Glare.
Uh,
All right, yeah.
Dramp-
So that's snake.
Drampa, snake.
Survivor? Does he get Glare?
Oh,
Survivor. Let's check. I'm looking through the
Or
list.
yes, he does. So Ekans, Arbok, Dunsparce, Seviper, Silicobra line. And then also Snivy, Superior, Servine get Glare. And at least in Gen 9, that's all of the Glare havers.
Yeah, no,
you
that's a lot of snakes. That's
you
a lot
left
of snakes.
off
Also Zygarde,
Dramp,
Drampa, Dritagon, and Heliolisk in Gen 8.
all snakes.
Lovely. Oh, okay, so we do have a lot more snakes.
Well, actually, almost
Admittedly,
nothing gets glare. I felt like more Pokemon learned glare, but I was very wrong. It's like
I
6
think
guys.
it's and they're all basically snakes.
yes.
So, hooray! I mean, the first snake I did want to talk about though is Ekans because it is not just the first snake; it is almost all snakes. Like I was looking through it, and if
I'm
you
sorry, did
look
you
at a
know,
pic,
speaking of Ekin, did you know that glare goes all the way back to Gen 1? I did not know that.
Yeah, it's one of the
really?
original moves.
Yeah,
Get
It
out
was
of here!
Ekans Arbok's signature move in Gen 1.
Yeah.
I felt it was more like a Gen 2 edition. Oh
No.
well.
Yeah, Dunsparce got it in Gen 2.
I'm pretty sure did Body Slam paralyze in Gen 1?
Yes. Body
Okay.
Slam was very good.
Because it's got to be like one of the few ways to like guarantee a paralysis in Gen 1.
So it does, I think it was 75% accurate in Gen 1 also, which was different.
71?
75% accurate in Gen
75.
1.
Okay, I was gonna be like, that was a weird number for a second. In any case, with Ekans at least, it just feels like they took parts of snakes and just kind of threw them all together to see what you can kind of get like one snake. So the tail is that of a rattlesnake. Incidentally, that rattling
It's
noise you
maybe that
heard.
of a rattlesnake. Do we know if it actually rattles?
I mean, it looks like it has the same build of a rattlesnake's tail. Now,
I know,
admittedly,
but
rattlesnakes.
I would say quite a few snakes though do have other venomous snakes like juvenile copperheads will have a brightly colored tail that they'll shake in like debris and stuff to give the illusion that they have a rattle and to
Admittedly,
distract predators. So there's a chance that Ekans' tail is simply rattle shaped without rattling. Unless does it say it rattles?
I don't believe it does. I will say that other snakes do rattle their tail even without a rattle. Like I've worked with several snakes where if they don't want me around, they'll just shake their tail and I'll just be like, "Yeah, yeah, come over here. Come on. We're not doing this. We got to
Oh yeah.
train." But I mean, I'm going to assume that it's part rattlesnake because that's a pretty good rattle. And if you've never seen how it rattles, it's cool because it's like a spectral mechanism of like scales on scales, like inside the tail. So it's this really cool little mechanism to how they actually shake and move their tail and make those sounds. Incidentally, rattlesnakes are about 56 different species. It also has the body of a python, so it specializes in constriction. Incidentally, with constriction, it doesn't cut off airflow so much as stop blood flow. Constriction, imagine tightening every muscle in your body and holding it. It's a lot of work. So instead of trying to cut off airflow, the goal is to try and shut off as much of the blood flow as possible getting to the brain. So that way everything just stops and it makes eating a lot easier. So constriction is apparently it is the most successful version of snakes because 90% of snakes use it. And even some venomous snakes will use mild constriction. But if we're talking pythons, it's about 39 species. In the Dex, it talks about eating eggs. When a snake eats eggs, not every snake can do it. It's actually very difficult to do. So you have to have not only the jaw that snakes have, which allows them to expand. It doesn't unhinge, just expands. But you also have to have specialized vertebra that will come down and actually crack into the egg. Only about
Yeah.
6 species of egg-eating snake out there. And finally, have y'all ever seen the picture of old school Ekans, of what he was supposed to look like back in the day?
Not so like not what the game was, but like the
No, but there was
original
an
design.
original design for him. I think I still have it here somewhere. Where did I put it? So the idea was that Ekans would have not one, but multiple rings around its body. So it didn't have just one, it had rings all over. So you could tie it to the ringneck snake, but I tend to tie Ekans more to something like a coral snake. Snakes that do have the bands around their body that make them seem toxic. And in many cases, they are. A lot of snakes also will mimic being toxic. That being said, this thing is a poison type, so I'm gonna err on the side of yeah, it's probably toxic. I found it. There it is. So this is what Ekans used to look like, and in some of the oldest designs, as you can see,
Hmm.
a little bit
So
different from what we currently have.
lots of yellow bands.
Yes, and
I
in
like that.
I mean, yeah, I like this design a lot. Actually, I think the extra yellow bands are nice.
It's weird
Nice.
that they took the yellow bands away, but kept like the vertical hashings.
No, you're right. I didn't really realize that when I was pulling this up. The yeah, the vertical hatchings are still there. They just took away the color.
Yeah.
That's weird. In any case, that also, if you include all the kind of coral snakes in their group, it's about 100 species. Like Ekans represents like well over 200 different kinds of snake out there. Like just by its design, they were able to incorporate so many different kinds of snakes into one awesome design. I think
Truly a
Ekans is
renaissance snake.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna put one snake, make it all the snakes. I don't know. Has Arbok or Ekans ever been like useful in a meta game? Because I feel like they deserve some love.
I think Arbok has had occasional. I've seen it once or twice. It has sort of a very interesting toolkit. I feel like someone's used Arbok to day 2 some stuff, and it's had a couple little pop-offs over the years. Having Intimidate is good. Poison typing in a very heavy metagame is pretty good. Glare is a great ability. It has an insane toolkit. I would love for Arbok to get a buff. Intimidate is great. It gets Scale Shot. It gets Sucker Punch. It gets
Maybe it'll get a mega
the
evolution
glare.
when
It gets Dragon Tail.
Oh, yeah, someone was using Haze Arbok semi recently as a Dondozo counter.
really.
Naturally.
It gets Coil plus Gunk Shot is really good.
That's not too shabby at all. It is definitely one of those Pokemon where, kind of like Beedrill, if you gave it a Mega Evolution or something, it would probably pop off. But as it is now, it's a utility. It's got some little niches here and there, but otherwise not the craziest usage.
Do you have an Ekans question? Does it not have teeth?
All constrictors in real life have teeth. They're just small and hooked-like. However, for egg-eating snakes, their teeth are even smaller and pushed to the back just to make sure that they can ingest the egg whole and then use those specialized vertebra near the beginning of their around their neck in order to crack and break into it.
So don't let Ekans near the breeder.
Oh yeah, no. If this thing is going near the daycare, it is going to eat them eggs. Like it literally says in the Pokedex how it goes after Pidgey and Sparrow eggs. So this thing will eat those eggs. It probably eats other stuff too. Snakes are not known for being super picky. They are known for consuming what they can that doesn't fight back as hard.
There are a few snakes that are shockingly picky. I know in Florida there's the crown snake, which is getting pretty endangered. One through habitat loss, but also because it only eats the short-tailed snake.
Oh, that would be a problem.
And the short-tailed snake likes to eat. It's an insectivorous snake, which is rare, and I think it likes to eat centipedes. So it's kind of a frustrating existence to try to conserve this animal. My professor in college is for herpetology was telling me about a person that was trying to see if the or the crown snake would eat other snakes, and he got one to successfully eat a ringneck snake, and then he called a bunch of people, and then an hour later it regurgitated the ringneck snake and wouldn't eat anymore. And after he had called a bunch of people that he had like solved it.
Eureka! No, just going back into the group chat. Like, never mind, guys. Don't worry about it. Oh God, I feel bad for your professor. Thanks for correcting
Well,
me.
it wasn't him.
Snakes.
It was a guy he knew.
Yeah, most of the snakes I know tend to be like things like rat snakes where they just don't care. Like it's
Very
fixed.
generalist.
Yeah, like you said, there are a few exceptions to that. Now, as far as weird snakes go, we got to talk about Dunsparce. Where I don't know about y'all, but we begged for an evolution so hard that Pokemon decided to troll us and go, "Fine, you little monsters, here." And they just added a segment. Like, here, this is what you wanted, right? Huh? Huh? I love that about them.
I don't think there was any other way that thing was evolving, so.
I'm a big Dunsparce fan.
Dunsparce is one of those Pokemon where if you want to just ruin some tryhard's day on the showdown ladder, just having a Dunsparce Serene Grace rock sliding and glaring on everyone sounds delightful. That just sounds
I
like a good
totally
time.
haven't looked at I I believe Dunsparce's Hyper Drill attack breaks it breaks Protect. I think it also breaks Wide Guard. I need to test it. I've been testing Curse Dunsparce with Rock Slide with Calyrex Ice Rider in Trick Room, and it's very
Oh
fun.
goodness. I mean, it sounds like it'd just be like flinching them nonstop, and everyone
Also,
screams with bloody tears.
do you know Dunsparce's encounter rate in the game it was introduced in?
Wasn't it like really low, like 1 or 2%?
It is 1%.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense given where it comes from.
Only in Dark Cave, which is early game, and min and max level of level 4, and that's the only time in the whole game you can get him.
Okay. Do you know the name of the creature that it's supposedly based off of?
It's the little fat snake guy, right? I can't. Is it
Yes,
with a
it is
T?
called. It's called a Tsuchinoko. So I will see if I can find. There's so many weird pictures of it, and if you type in Tsuchinoko into Google, one of the first pictures you get will just be of a Dunsparce. So that's just kind of what picked it up. All right, so this is like at least one artist's interpretation of what a Tsuchinoko should look
Oh
like. It is.
no.
Oh yes, fat snake. That's what it is. You want another one? This is my oh, I found it. This is it.
Wow,
This
this
is
thing is
my
unfair. I'm looking at Gen 2 Dunsparce's move pool, and this is brutal. It does get glare. It learns via level up like 7 moves total.
Yeah, this is my other favorite picture of the Tsukinoko. I love this. It's so stupid looking. Ah, I'm sorry if there's anyone out there who somehow listens from the middle of the countryside in Japan, but this cryptid is dumb looking, and I'm sorry.
I actually
The
like the
only
second
reason
picture better than the first.
the this creature, the Tsuchinoko, is a cryptid yokai from Japan. According to one source that I will admit is sketchy because it's cryptids and they always are sketchy, there have been quote unquote sightings and myths about this thing for centuries. But in the 1970s, there was this big, like, oh my gosh, we've seen it, we discovered it, we found it again. So there were entire crowds of people who'd be going into the woods during the 70s and 80s, like, looking for this thing. I was even able to find a picture of like a Tsuchinoko assembly out in Japan. Just all these people going out into the woods looking for this thing.
That's like the old news story, like the y'all seen the leprechaun?
The Leprechaun of Mobile, Alabama.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to read you some of the behaviors of this creature. All right, so I found this source. It's called yokai.com, so we'll trust the source as best we can. It's said to be active during the day from spring to fall and hibernates throughout the winter. Very snake-like, that works. They make their nests in the holes around wooded river banks. They give off a sound like a chee, and they snore when they sleep. That's fun. All right, this part's still normal. Feeds on insects when they are young, and frogs and mice as they grow larger. There are occasional reports that they will eat larger animals like cats or dogs. They can eat vast quantities of food for their small size. They're also quite fond of sake, and they are attracted to the smells of miso, dried squid, and burning hair. So we're going a
Oh.
little.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to
Okay,
make
now
of that.
here's the best part. Here's the best part for Pokemon fans. Despite their awkward shape, their Tsuchinoko is incredibly nimble. They can move around like an inchworm, but they're best known for their habit of rolling up and tumbling about. What is one of those 7 moves that it learns, Don?
I think it learns rollout, right?
It does.
Yeah.
It learns
Dunsparce
defense
is
curl.
there's
It definitely
defense
learns
curl.
roll out.
Oh, actually, yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, the original it learns defense curl. Oh, it learns rollout via TM of level up moves. It actually only learns 3 moves that do damage. It learns rage, pursuit, and takedown, but it does learn defense curl.
Yeah. Also, apparently, they're great jumpers and can jump from up to 2 to 5 meters. So I guess that's what the wings are for on Dunsparce.
It's
Yeah, this thing's
it
weird.
also learns zap cannon via TM.
That I got nothing for. There's nothing in here about it generating electricity. But it is a fun creature. Like it usually when you go into mythical creatures, you get the ones that are just dangerous monsters or like ghosts hunting for your soul. You just have the Tsuchinoko, which is like, nah, fat snake. It rolls around. We're gonna go find it in the woods.
Y'all seen
It
the
really
Tsuchinoko
is.
snake? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my good. It's a fun creature. I don't see any harm in it. Before we go to our next one, I will show you. This was apparently from a book, Runaway Tsuchinoko, and it's supposedly the quote unquote only picture of one ever truly found. So, as fun as the art depiction is, I feel I'd be remiss to not show you that this thing may have looked not great.
Mm,
And that could be a lot of things.
there could be a lot of things.
That could be a lot of things. It's not great. Like all cryptids, the footage is blurry, and I have no idea what I'm looking at. Now, I know they don't learn glare, they don't match the system, but I would like to talk about Onix and Steelix. They're kind of snake-like, right? It works out, right?
I mean, they are snake bodied. They are worm
Of all
bodied.
Okay.
of all snake guys, I think Onix has the max stat of all snaky Pokemon.
I mean, I just can't get the image out of my head of Onix dolphin diving through the desert in new Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, that was
Like that
actually
was
like probably the scariest thing I've seen was how high Onyx got in the air.
oh, that thing was going up
Actual
like
question though, do
meters.
any of you guys know Onix's base attack stat?
Isn't it like less than a Caterpie at like 30 or 40?
It's 45. Do you
Oh
know its
God.
HP stat? It's even worse.
20.
35.
Oh.
It's just
The
all
defense
defense.
though, that 200.
160 defense. It's 35, 45, 160, 30, 45, 70.
Talk about min maxing.
I don't know. If my thing is weaker than a Caterpie, I don't really want to use it. But I guess he did have his purpose. He served Brock well. But the fact that it lives underground, there are snakes that do that. There are snakes that spend a majority of their life underground. The Florida pine snake even has an extra scale on its snoot to help it kind of push dirt around. I mean, there are multiple different snake species throughout Florida and the southeast that rely on the burrows of gopher tortoises. Things like rattlesnakes and copperheads and indigo snakes that will rely on living underground. So I don't see why Onyx or Steelix would be any different. I don't really know
The
what
one snake
their
I mentioned earlier, the short-tailed snake, is a fossorial species. There's actually quite a
just
few snakes that we know are not doing well, but we also really have no idea how well they're doing because small, shy, fossorial, so on primarily underground snakes are very, very hard to get proper population counts for. So the best guess for a lot of it is we're not sure, but probably not good.
I mean, Onyx though apparently can move over 50 miles per hour underground, which is pretty nuts.
That's pretty. Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty speedy. It's no Doug Trio.
yeah, no, that Doug Trio is swimming in magma. That thing doesn't care. But the fastest snake in the world can hit 18 miles an hour. It's the Sidewinder. I couldn't find the best source on that one, so take it with a grain of
I
salt.
wonder. I didn't know they were that fast.
Wait, that's faster than the Black
Apparently,
Mamba?
Or a coach whip.
yeah, see, I was looking for like fastest snake information and like any animal speed. It's so hard to find accurate data because it's almost
It is.
always found through the dumbest means possible. Like, how do you know the Black Mamba was fast? I don't know. It chased me and I'm real fast. I do like Steelix a lot from just if you're going for like sheer terrifying snakes, Steelix might be up there. Eats metal, steel body, pretty basic stuff. I will say, as far as eating metal to get a steel body, I mean, snakes do that in order to stay alive when it comes to eating toxic frogs. So there are multiple snakes that will actually consume toxic material, like frogs or toads, and then collect those toxins and keep them onto their body. Things like the tiger keelback snake in Japan is one of the few animals that is both poisonous and venomous at the same
That was
time.
gonna be the fact I was about to drop, and you stole my fact.
I stole your fact because I use that snake all the time at work to mess with children. It's one of my favorites. I mean, you can talk about the snake that fights the frog and see which one's more toxic. That's a fun one.
Yeah, there's only one species of snake that's able to eat a poison dart frog.
I don't actually know the name of that one.
Fire-bellied snake.
That's a really good name for it, actually. All right. So the last
Yes.
snakes I had one on. Sorry, Survivor fans. I only had so much time. I want to talk about the newest snakes in the pile. I want to talk about Silcobra, and Sandaconda. I think they're really cool and like they
Mm-hmm.
get kind of ignored. Um, So Arbok is what I would consider a pure cobra. Silicobra, I think, is a false cobra. False cobras.
because it's silly.
I'm gonna pull up a picture of a false cobra, and you tell me if you think that Silcobra might look a little, a little less cobra-y. When it comes to false cobras, they are a rear fang snake. So despite the name, they are still venomous. They're just not nearly as potent. But look at this guy. Look at this
Yeah,
dude.
he's cute.
There are quite a few snakes that will use the fake hood or something similar. Speaking of rear fang snakes, the hognose snake, which is one of my favorite personal snakes, they will they do a lot of shenanigans. And they will flatten out their neck right behind their head to imitate a cobra first while they bluff strike with their mouth shut. And when that doesn't work, they play dead. But they give it the old college try being a cobra first.
I do love the Eastern hognose as well. That's a good snake. For Silicobra, apparently it uses its neck pouch to hold sand for its attack. So it might be an intimidation thing in the Pokemon world, but its main purpose is completely different. So that's why I kind of put it in the false cobra pile. I still think it's neat that something called a false cobra is still venomous. Because if you just told the average person, oh, it's a false cobra, and then just pet it, be, oh no, it's still venomous, and you just get bit.
Yeah,
Admittedly, though, the venom is non.
it's just like it's like, oh no, it's not a cobra. But it'll still mess you up.
Yeah, it'll still
Like,
get you.
what's the point?
Well, what's cool is that they use the sand in the game to kind of like blind things. That's what the whole point of collecting the sand is for. And I
Yeah.
mean, spitting cobras are a thing, and they've
Oh, I
run
know.
tests.
Oh, we know about spitting cobras here in Raleigh.
Oh, that's right.
That's right. Well, you had it on the loose.
He had some, for those not in the know, in peak COVID times, I think it was like 2021, some dude in Raleigh who had exotic pets lost his spitting cobra and then didn't tell anyone because he thought it would die in the wintertime.
Yeah.
But he didn't realize that the temperature here in our winters were very similar to where the snake is natively from, and it just overwintered in some woman's foundation. And then when she came out in like March, it was just it was a zebra cobra just chilling on her deck.
Yeah, I remember you asking me what to do, and I was like, just bring sunglasses in your pocket in case you see it.
I think that cobra is like accurate with its spit from like 9 feet away at hitting people in the eyes.
Yeah,
Yeah, they actually did tests. It can hit you in the. It aims for the face.
Yeah,
they are a beautiful snake.
they are
They're
very
lovely
pretty,
creatures.
but Raleigh was losing its mind.
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so much brush out there. There's so much greenery. Yeah, that thing's gonna be having a time of its life. It'll be okay. Did they catch it though, right? They got it?
Oh no, yeah, they definitely caught it, and then they found the guy. So basically, the I think what the story was is the guy was in the hospital because his green mamba bit him. Uh, and while he was in the hospital, the zebra cobra got out. But like it came out that like this dude was like we're like he was in like the suburbs, and he had a TikTok where he's just letting this like cobra like run through his fenced backyard, and it's like, what are we doing, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
believe he has any of his snakes anymore.
I don't think he should have had them to begin with. But the last snake I kind of wanted to touch on is Sandaconda. Because yeah, it's supposed to be based on an anaconda, but it's weird because it has like if you look at its design, it has like weird front fangs. And like that's not a thing that anacondas are known for. Like it has almost the fangs of a venomous snake, which
Mhm.
is not. I don't know. I guess it's again one of those things like, oh, it's for intimidation. It's supposed to look scary. It is a constrictor though. The thing that I wanted to touch on because I was reading the Pokedex entry and it's way more cool than anything I could teach about anacondas. Um, its Gigamax form apparently can hold over 1 million tons of sand that is just flying around it. Like
That's a lot.
when a Gigamax Sandaconda attacks something with all that sand, you would technically be able to see it from space. You would be able to see the sand come up in this one area and just engulf the entire city of wherever you're playing in. 1 million tons of sand is not something you mess with. And this thing is concentrating them on one place. Goes
I
without saying that it's terrifying.
I like how the this entry for sword for the non-Gmax form lets you know that if it ever runs out of sand, it becomes disheartened. And like, poor guy. I hope
Yeah,
he
like,
can have enough.
oh. Here, it's sorry to literally like just have like you know how people have like items to throw at your Pokemon. You have
Yeah,
potions or you have revives. It's
it's
literally a
sand.
bag of sand. Yeah, from go to it's a Home Depot bag of sand. Just I got you, buddy. Chuck. It's a really cool Pokemon. I like its design. I just kind of wish I don't know. I wish I liked using it more. It's too defensive for my taste.
I
It's
lost
cool.
to Gmax Sandaconda Perish Trap at a local once, and I'm still mad about it.
Yeah, see, defensive. I don't like the defensive.
But
I mean,
Gmax move is works like Sand Tomb, so it traps.
Yeah.
So it's really annoying.
yeah. I mean, anacondas are still like the heaviest snake in the world. The fact that they have survived so long in the Amazon, the fact they feed on almost anything out there, and the fact that there's even as large as they are, it could be right next to you. You would never know in those rivers. They camouflage so well, but they don't have venom. They don't have these crazy teeth. They do have, teeth, but they're not trying to like stick you with toxin. Again, there's so many misconceptions about snakes. And if people are going to be afraid of them, I would at least like for them to be afraid of them while knowing that they mean them no harm. Like I can't stop a phobia, but the fact that we keep getting these designs that are very much like snake bad, or in the case of Dunsparce, snake weird. I wish that there was a snake Pokemon that wasn't that. I don't know. Do you think we need more snake Pokemon, or do you think we reached our limit?
I
Oh,
am so pro more snake Pokemon. There's so many cool and unique snakes. I'm surprised we don't have. I mean, I guess we have Arbok with the Cobra. Surprised we don't have like really a spitting Cobra type of guy. Zygarde is a snake, sort of. Sometimes, depending on the type of Zygarde it is.
Mm-hmm.
has there been a generation where we did not get a new snake Pokemon?
This
You
one,
know? Mm.
Scarlet Violet?
And no, Dunsparce. We got an evolution. We gotta
that's
count it.
right.
Let's see, Gen
Wh-
1, Gen 2. Gen 4 and Gen 5. I don't think we got a
Say
snake.
Gen 4, I don't think had a real snake.
Gen 5, no snake. Gen 6, 7, and 8. No. 7 didn't have one.
7
No,
was
we missed a few.
Alola.
Alola.
Yeah,
Was there
well, that
snake
makes
in
sense.
Alola?
It's Hawaii.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you could have put an invasive snake in there, but like if it's based on Hawaii, their snake population, I believe. I don't think there are any snakes there natively. There could be.
Guam
I
is the
just
one
need to
that
go
has
and
the
check.
big snake issues.
Yeah. It's. I don't know. I think if you made a snake a thread snake, like Pokemon, like how adorable those things are, that would work fine. God, a hognose would be so cool.
I
I
think
would
the
I'd like a
love.
closest
hognose. I'm surprised we don't have. I mean, we've got a lot of sea serpent guys, but a water poison sea snake might be fun.
or
That'd
like a
be really
cottonmouth.
cool. Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
Um
Also,
fun.
I think snakes don't have to be poison types. Obviously, a lot of like venomous snake
well
lends itself
Sandaconda's
to.
not.
Correct. I was gonna say, but I think I
Yeah.
think I think when people design snakes, they lump that on. I appreciate them doing some non. But yeah, a hognose would be cool. A flying snake would be very cool.
That would be
That
cool.
would be fun. That would be a really cool snake to do. And he could just
I
be a
do
pure flying type.
I do have
Like,
some thoughts. So we said Gen 4, Gen 5, no snake Pokemon is what we said.
yeah. Uh-huh.
Gen 4, Giratina Origin.
Okay, no, Giratina is like it's a worm centipede, if anything.
It is
Yeah, it's
Satan,
an
Adam and
abomination from
Eve,
hell itself.
and the snake from the Garden of Eden.
I guess.
Eh,
And then
eh.
Gen 5, I know we get into the snake no snake discussion, but technically superior.
Yes. Okay. Do you want real quick?
Yeah.
Really, one of my favorite snakes. Are you guys familiar? And I'm gonna have to go soon. I think as we're winding down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the tentacled snake.
Oh, yes. That's a good snake.
So, Chris,
Great
the
snake.
tentacled snake is an aquatic species of snake. It's rear-fanged and eats primarily fish.
Mhm.
And it's begging to be a water psychic type because what they do is fish are very fast underwater, as you would imagine, faster than a snake can strike typically. So what they do is when the fish approaches them, they're very still, and then they will twitch part of its midsection to trigger the fish's reflexive pivot called the C start, where a fish will basically do a 180 away from a sudden stimuli.
Mhm.
And as it does that, it also turns its head to strike. So the fish will pivot just into its mouth.
Oh, that's sick.
So it's pretty. Yeah, you can go on YouTube and look up tentacled snake videos. I think that would be just, like I said, a really cool water psychic type, something like that, maybe.
There he is in the
But just
comments.
shouting
Look at
out,
his flat little face. Oh, he's
I
so
want one
precious.
really badly. They're fascinating. They're fascinating snakes.
Yeah. See, there's so much we can do, but we are running low on time. I hope that whoever's listening understands that snakes aren't monsters. They're weird, certainly. They don't got legs, but that shouldn't be the shame of them.
Oh wait,
If
Chris,
you see a
Chris,
snake,
sorry, last interruption. Are you guys familiar with the Arabian sand boa?
oh my
Yeah.
god, yes. The
Yeah.
stupidest
Chris,
snake
you know
on
about
earth.
the Arabian sand boa?
Oh, I know.
Okay. How can you hate
I
that
just-
guy?
Yeah, you
I don't.
can't.
I don't hate him.
You look into his stupid little eyes and you tell him you hate him. Look at him. Oh my gosh, I love this snake so much. Hey, we can't stop. We're gonna have to hard cut. We're gonna have to stop
Hard
because we
cut.
could
I'm
just do
sorry.
this all day. Oh, don't apologize for loving snakes. We need more people like you out there, Don. Folks, if you see a snake, leave it alone. Don't listen to Don. If you're not Don, listen to me. If you are Don, do what you want. But leave them alone. Let them do their thing. And if you see any cobras in your backyard, call Chris and let him know. He knows what to do.
I get out.
Have a great rest of your day or night. We have a whole year's worth of programming waiting for you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Bye, everybody.